We need to talk about this patch. It changes a lot in No Man's Sky's new Outlaws update, things that you are likely doing daily in the game. I've broken the patch notes into sections dealing with items and trading, pirates and raids, exploits, ships, general and crash fixes to make this more manageable and easier to digest. So sit back, relax and get comfy, as Craze used to say, and let's go over everything. First off, we have items and trading. Fixed an issue that caused smuggling items to sell at an incorrect markup in regulated stations. This actually affects multiple things in multiple ways. Firstly, the direct change is that contraband trade goods purchasable from vendors in pirate controlled space in place of normal trade goods will now sell in non-pirate controlled systems for a substantial markup. Previous to this patch, it wasn't selling for a markup and was sometimes even lower. The downside is, along with this change, they have also combated the exploit I did a video on. X-Class and Sentinel class procedural upgrades have had their intended price nerfs finally applied. This nerf is 20% of base value, so X-Class and Sentinel class upgrades are now worth 80% less than before. While I agree with this change for X-Class, I think it is a negative change for the Sentinel class upgrades and have made a video explaining my case for this, which I'll link below if you're curious. HG have also made suspicious packets far more expensive, specifically when buying in units from a trader. If you purchase from a scrap dealer, they are still the original price of around 250 or so tainted metal. This leads into our next note. Fixed an issue that caused repair kits to be too expensive when purchased with tainted metal. The reason this happened is that each item used to have a base value. Items are not attached to any specific currency. The vendor selling the item defines a currency. This meant that if you had an item with a base value of say 66,000 like Nip Nip, this was appropriate for selling in units, but not buying in tainted metal from a scrap dealer, as it's far too expensive. By either giving separate values or by adjusting vendor specific markups, they have now adjusted this to be able to use different values. Another related change that isn't specifically noted in these original notes is that to combat the exploit further, where you could buy up to 80 suspicious packets with a guaranteed tech inside to then sell for nanites, after making them more expensive they also reduced the amount available in each station by a factor of 10, so you'll now see between 2 and 8 available per station. The unfortunate thing, which I'm hoping has been fixed in the public release, is that this change was applied to all products available in a pirate controlled system, not substances but products, like ion batteries or microprocessors, or most importantly, the new banned trade goods, which when you can only buy 2 to 8 of these, they aren't too worth doing as a trader for making solid units. But this could be fixed in the public release, or will be fixed soon, or is just part of their current plan to add value back to many parts of the game. Next are changes to pirates and raids. Pirates will no longer attack players who are underground, underwater, or in their own base. This is fantastic and extremely welcome, allowing builders to build again, uninterrupted by those gosh darn troublemakers. Pirates no longer attack planets in low conflict systems. Another logical change that many will welcome. I do also very much like that this adds some genuine value to low conflict systems now. Fixed an issue that could cause the pirate raid warning message to display when there was no pirate attack incoming. Fixed an issue that caused pirates to deal too much damage when shooting at the player on the ground, and for the player to receive ship related warning messages when hit. This is likely referring to something in the files that limits the damage from a ship when applied to a player directly, as otherwise you'd be vaporized in a single shot. Fixed a number of issues that prevented pirates from attacking planetary buildings with the correct behaviours. Fixed an issue that caused pirate raid markers to fail to clear from buildings when the raid ends. Fixed an issue that caused pirates to attack planetary buildings too frequently. This was probably one of the most mentioned gripes about the Outlaws update overall. The raids were far too common, to the point that it was causing some players to not play at all until it's fixed, as it just prevented their preferred playstyle. Now for exploits, or just exploit, fixed an issue that could cause items in the ship cargo inventory to be incorrectly cleaned up when sold. I'm sure many enjoyed this one, as I was told about this exploit every 5 minutes I was streaming and in the comments of every video I put out. This was however an exploit that could not live too long, as it completely prevented the use of the new cargo inventory by any player who didn't want to tarnish their save. There are a good few for ships too. Reduce the effectiveness of the POSITRON ejector against starship shields. This concerned many veteran players, as the POSITRON has been the staple weapon for most interlopers for years now, But don't worry, while it has had a further nerf, it is still substantial in power. If used well at close range, you can still take the shield down with it and utterly melt them after. Hauler starships can now upgrade their cargo inventory to a greater capacity than other ships. This is a really nice touch. This actually brings haulers back as a useful ship again. For some time now, since all ships could be upgraded to 4821, haulers have been on the decline in use as their max slot count was their former unique feature, but the increase to their cargo over all other ship types is a welcome change. Trader ships now use the red hostile target arrow on the starship hood if they are attacking the player. Fixed a collision issue with the wings of Solar class starships. Fixed an issue that could cause the camera to be out of focus when repairing or installing ship technologies while on board the ship. Fixed an issue that caused squadron ship engines to be very loud while flying in formation. They are still a decent volume, just not deafening. Fixed an issue that causes Solar ship engine vents to constantly flap open and closed in the inventory menu. Here we have some general but important fixes. Fixed a texture streaming memory leak. This is a great fix, though there appears to still be a memory leak active. I can't say exactly what has been causing it for me, but my frames go from 60 to 19 or 20 regularly, but not always when fighting sentinels or on my freighter. This may not be a memory leak even, but slowdowns like this I've had in the past have been. Improved the appearance of freighter fleet warpings. Fixed a number of instances of missing audio effects. Fixed a number of glitches and other visual issues with player capes. Fixed an issue that caused the Starship utility menu to open on the wrong option. Fixed an issue that could cause screen flashes in space at low frame rates. Good fix for those with photosensitivity. Lastly are just 3 crash fixes. Fixed a crash related to NPC ships, fixed a crash related to pirate spawning, and fixed a crash related to the player frigate fleet. And there you have it, fine folk. Quite a big patch. Hopefully this fixes your primary issues at the moment. Be sure to report any issues you're still having to hellogames.zendesk.com, and of course support the channel by liking, sharing and writing any comment at all that you can think of that relates to the video for YouTube reasons. Have an amazing day.